I'd like to call this meeting to order, Monday, April 22nd, 9 a.m. Before we begin, could everyone just kind of go around and introduce themselves? Just because we have so many people joining us on the call today.
I'll start. I'm Michael McCarthy. I am General Counsel at the Light Department, representing the department here at the this morning's hearing.
And my name is David Polson. I'm the with the Light Department as well, and I'm the Engineering and Operations Manager. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I'm John Ogren with Hayes Engineering. We're the civil engineers and land surveyors for this project.
I'm happy to go. So Bill Renaud, Town Engineer, Wakefield.
Tim Wilson, Senior Civil Engineer with the Engineering Department.
Ann Wade, DPW.
Joe Conway, DPW.
Chris Tarr, Advisory Board of Public Works.
Shane McCarthy, Advisory Board of Public Works.
Elena Perry-Casellas, Advisory Board of Public Works.
Thank you very much. Okay, first order of business, public participation. Ann, did we get anything? No?
Sorry, no.
Okay. Number 3, 9 a.m. The public hearing, land disturbance permit application. Ann or Joe, I don't know if you want to begin or you wanted to hand it over to Bill or whoever wanted to start.
Joe, I can take it if you like. So, you want me to take it? All right. So we received the land disturbance application. The project triggers our stormwater bylaw threshold of 20,000 square feet of land disturbance. Our office has reviewed the plan from Hayes and the stormwater report, and we're comfortable with it. Aside from that, we'll let them give a quick presentation on what they're doing for stormwater control, and hopefully wrap this up fairly quick today.
Well, so on behalf of the applicant, I'll just quickly, I'll just defer to John in the interest of time to cover the details of the plan. John, let me know if you need me to screen share or anything.
Yeah, I can share my screen if that's.
No, sure.
You should be able to. If you can't, let me know.
We can see that, John.
We're good.
Oh, why is it not?
We can see it.
I love all these updates. They keep changing they keep moving around all the zooms and everything.
The buttons.
Yeah, the buttons located. So, yeah, the proposed project is located on Hemlock Road, basically to the south side of it, just beyond the football field. It's kind of basically between the high school and the vocational school. And in terms of just existing, the existing site is essentially a forested area with soils, trees. There's not much in terms of undergrowth, and then there are ledge outcrops located on the site itself. And these are showed by these hatched areas here. Just before I get into what we're proposing, we are proposing to show some erosion control measures. We have a straw wattle along kind of the edge of the excavation. Just topographically, this site slopes up from Hemlock Road. It's a little bit flatter in through this area, and then as it gets towards the back and to the west side of the property, it starts to slope up at much greater, it's much steeper. So that's why the erosion control is only shown down on the downhill side towards Hemlock. We are showing a proposed construction entrance to try to reduce the amount of sediment that gets out to the roadway itself as part of the construction. In terms of our stormwater management, as I said, the existing property is basically wooded. We will be clearing pretty much to the extent of, there's actually an easement line that was granted to the light department. Pretty much be clearing this area here. We are keeping trees along Hemlock Road, those are to remain. And there is a section over on the east that, some potential future development, but for now, those trees will remain there. In terms of improvements, we're proposing a driveway access into the site. There's various equipment that will be installed. There's batteries, switches. There's an area for gas that would be gas to provide for the generator, the radiator for the generator. So basically all dealing with either power generation or transmission of power on the site. The driveway itself will be pavement. The other areas will be the yard itself is proposed to be 8 inches of crushed stone over a filter fabric. And any other disturbed areas would be loam and seeded. In terms of the drainage, there is this hill continues on to the south quite a way, so there's pretty large bordered area or watershed down to this area. So we're proposing to intercept that runoff from the remainder of the land with swales that would direct it to the east and kind of to the northwest around the actual energy park. And as far as drainage, it's proposed, as I said, this is all basically crushed stone. So we did stormwater calculations to mitigate for up through the 100-year storm. We showed a reduction in the rate and runoff, and the way we accomplished that was, as I said, this is crushed stone, which has the potential for some storage and infiltration. We did not count that, but this eventually will drain. As I said, it drains steep higher at the south side and heading towards Hemlock. We have like an interceptor stone trench with a PVC pipe in it that will intercept and treat water. There's also a proposed deep sunk catch basin at the end that's designed to capture the runoff from the paved areas, and that will go through this infiltration trench, and then this eventually overflows to a drain manhole, which will connect to the existing drainage in Hemlock into the back of an existing catch basin on Hemlock Road. And that's kind of a summary of what we're proposing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions?
So it looks like the only 3 sort of larger trees that are being removed are the ones that have those X's on them in the existing conditions plan. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's trees inside. There are some trees in here that will be removed. We identified basically trees that were over 6 inches and over on this plan. There are trees in this area though also.
Okay.
Do you know how many roughly?
I don't remember. There was a tally at one time. But
I think it's 185, 184, somewhere around there.
That's how many are going to be removed?
Yes.
Okay. And so the plans though are only showing ones over 6 inches, or are those are all, some of them are larger too? They're just not shown.
yeah, we didn't show the trees within this area in here because they would be removed. These were initially, we're going to try to save those, but we decided that they would have to be removed based on on the activities.
Okay, so there's quite a bit of clearing then.
Correct. As I said, it's basically a, wooded area.
And this is generating power for, is it both the new high school and the Voc?
Both the new high school and the vocational school. It'll serve as a backup generation for both schools. Neither school will have a emergency generator. So we'll be providing emergency generation to both schools, and also it provides peak shaving for the entire town. So for us to help manage our cost of buying power, when it's a peak event, which occurs monthly and annually, the cost of power is very high. So this helps to maintain manage our cost, which all the residents in town get to benefit from.
So, I mean, this is a little beyond our jurisdiction, but I'm just curious to understand, exactly what we're approving. So it's, so it runs as emergency backup power, and then it runs whenever you want to do the peak shaving. It kicks on to power the two schools through the generator.
The generator on the there's batteries there. So the batteries are the primary asset that will provide emergency backup, and then the batteries have a certain duration. So if the duration on the battery is it exceeds the capacity, then the generator will operate. And then both schools, they need an uninterruptible power supply as part of the code requirements. So between the battery backup as the primary and the generator as the secondary, then we meet the code requirements for both schools.
So
Are
that'll
both schools, sorry, are both schools fully electric? Like
The
heat
high
and,
school is fully electric. The vocational school was not a fully electric school. Then we worked with them to change their design, and they shifted away from using a lot more gas. So the only thing they'll use gas for is cooking and labs. That's it. Before they were going to use the school for the gas heat and hot water, and they've shifted away from their design to based on the desires of the light department, because we're trying to reduce our peak gas, and the community is also advocating for carbon reduction, less reliance on fossil fuel. So they changed the design to accommodate everyone.
great.
I was just gonna add the fact that we're doing the solar on the site at Hemlock allows us to tie in. So we'll be doing the solar panels on both schools, the light department will, and those will tie into the batteries. Just, it might be obvious, but just to touch that
So
base.
that's what powers those batteries.
Yeah. The other benefit here is that the sites can now be used as emergency evacuation centers too. In the event of a, townwide outage or unfortunate incident.
Great.
We're also doing a big tree replacement. So every tree that we take down here, it's not relevant to the site directly, I understand that. But we're replacing every tree that gets cut down.
On
Oh,
the,
yes.
on the
Maple
school site?
Down at Mapleway Park. There's a parcel down there that was taken. It was going to be built out as a soccer field, I believe, a number of years ago, 10 or 15. It was never used that way. So in consultation with the town, the DPW, as well as with the Conservation Commission and the town council, we've agreed to do that as a part of the mitigation, I'll call it.
Is that area presently, what's in the area where the trees are going? You said it was going to be used for a soccer field. Is it
It's
just?
kind of scrub. I don't know how best to describe it. There really aren't any trees there. Just kind of open, kind of scrub land.
Okay.
It has like a path through it. That's about it. Yeah. So I think you guys are also adding like a bunch of trees to it, right, Mike? Does that sound right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
A great deal.
All right,
Great.
that's great.
I should say.
Yep.
And I assume all that planting is gonna be like native trees and,
Yeah, we're working, there's a planting plan. We're working with the forestry department, the DPW, the town tree warden. And we have hired a gentleman, Brett Riley, who's, I think, an arborist and local to town, so it's fairly well developed
okay, great.
plan, that is.
Bill, was there any comments or stipulations you wanted to add to the recommendation?
Yeah, so we dealt with most of the comments prior to, so this is probably the second or third iteration I think that we saw. So we're good with the design as is. Just the typical conditions that we would add. So an as-built to be provided, and then if there's an annual inspection that comes to us, that's the standard for all stormwater stuff we do in town. So that would be the only things we'd ask for.
Okay. And I guess it's just more of a question for me. The maintenance, like over time at the park, is that all going to be handled by the light department? Like the maintenance of the batteries and anything to do with the site, or?
It stays with you folks, right? It's your land, so.
Dave, you want to?
Yeah, the light department will manage the within the fence perimeter. The light department will be responsible to manage the equipment and the maintenance inside that yard. We obviously have different relationships because of the equipment with who will manage it. So we won't specifically do it ourselves, but we'll contract out. Like the battery will be done by another vendor. Maintenance on the generator will be done by a different vendor. We'll do switchgear maintenance. But we are responsible to coordinate that maintenance within that perimeter of the fence.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to add? Shane, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm wondering too is our, police details, things of that nature. I'm just trying to think of other costs to the town that we may not be aware of, like who's gonna be handling additional costs to, the town. Like, is there gonna be a police detail, and, is the town covering that? Does the light department pay for it? Like, how will that work?
The light department will handle the cost. So we have infrastructure on Hemlock that we will be doing. We're coordinating all our activities with the high school, the vocational school, the gas and electric. Obviously, we're both. So we have work on Hemlock. We coordinate that, and any of those police detail costs will be the responsibility for the light department, or the gas department work will be the responsibility of the department. And that, yeah, we'll take care of that. We will not be, having the DPW providing details for us.
We appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
On the cost end of things, Dave, do you want to quickly just touch on the savings for the town?
Yes, so the savings is significant. I mean, and we're talking over time. Every month when the generator runs, the savings could be, it's a avoided cost. So you may or may not be aware, but the cost of energy is escalating all the time. You've probably read about it. You've seen other utilities, Eversource, National Grid, their bills are much higher than ours. So we're doing this to manage our costs. So it's not necessarily a immediate cost reduction. It's try to avoid escalating costs. So by managing peak capacity, we manage that. So there's, the overall project is around $15 million for the entire project. And the way it works is that when the generator and the batteries run during a peak time every month, there's a avoided cost that we don't get billed for on the transmission by National Grid. So that will be somewhere in the area, or just ballpark of $25,000 to $50,000 a month of avoided cost between the battery and the generator. And then there's an annual capacity cost that we would be subject to as well, and that's in the area of $300,000 a year that that we, or more, that we would be able to avoid by running the battery and the generators during the peak times. So, overall, I mean, based on, when, the actual cost, and we work with a company to make sure that we capture those costs, we're looking at, a 7-year payback, roughly.
Okay, what about the upfront savings for the town and in terms of capital costs at the building?
The upfront savings for the town is that the light department, I mean, the high school reduces their cost by more than $1 million by the construction of the high schools. So we by not installing an emergency backup generator for the high school, there's an estimated $1 million savings for that alone.
And the same applies at the vocational school.
Same applies to the vocational school as well. Yep.
Thank
Yep. Both schools are really embracing this. I mean, if you've heard the term microgrid, it's a microgrid. So as Mike said, it allows us to really manage all these, the solar, both solar on both schools will be installing that. The light department will be installing that. The town gets to benefit from that as well, because that flows, the excess flows to the energy park and then goes out to the community. So you want to keep generation local, and that way they can avoid the transmission costs. So we'll be generating solar off the roof. The schools get to benefit from it to reduce their operating costs, and the excess comes back to the grid and flows through the energy park and back out to the residents. So that's about 1 megawatt of solar that will be generated that residents get to benefit from. Then, as Mike said, in the event of a major event, a major area outage, the emergency management has decided that they would be using the high school as a warming and cooling center. So we have enough capacity in the energy park to operate as a microgrid to offer the town to use the school as a warming and cooling center during a major event. So there's many benefits to the ratepayers in town, many benefits to the school to reduce their budget and their operating expense. So this project has been supported by the boards that we've presented to, town council, all the finance committee, planning board. I mean, so many sustainability committee has all endorsed the project as well. So we've got national recognition for it at the national level. APPA awarded us a grant. It's not a very large amount, but they awarded us a grant because of the innovative nature of the energy park. And we're also working on the educational component of the energy park with both the high school for the STEM programs and the vocational school for the electric shops that they have, so that they can integrate both the solars, the battery storage, the generator, the microgrid, utility management, all can be integrated into their program. So both the superintendent of Wakefield High School and the superintendent of Northeast Metro Tech have definitely been very interested in some type of integration of education from the energy park into it for the students. So there's many different aspects of it that are really embraced by the schools and all the way up to the residents. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
And can I just make one comment? I know a lot of committees have reviewed this project, but when we do something like this, like going forward, is there a way that we could kind of, especially because we're voting on this and voting on land, is there a way we could kind of be incorporated a little earlier into this? I know other, committees have reviewed it and maybe given some points that they might have saw in the plan. I'm not sure, but I'd like Elena's really a good specialist in stuff, some of this stuff like this. I know Shane's got interest. I think, maybe next time I'd like to have our board a little more involved a little sooner than where we're at now, because we're not going to say no, obviously. The plan's completed, but
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
just so there's something that we might see, or someone might want to chime in an earlier stage. That's all.
No problem at all. Happy to do it.
Yeah,
There's
Chris,
great things about this. I just want to make a point about that. There's, Dave really explained some positive things about it, so thank
Sure,
you.
Mr. Chairman, absolutely.
Chris, we probably do, I'm gonna say 2 or 3 of these a year. That number actually might be high, just because of the threshold you have to hit, but we'll make sure moving on that, we'll almost do like a little bit of a preview, in a meeting setting, and then we'll have the hearing after the fact. That's no issue.
Yeah, no big deal. Just going forward, that's all. Anything else? Shane, Elena?
No,
So
I'm
I
good.
just want to clarify, just so we know what we're making a motion on. Bill, can you just review exactly what is our jurisdiction here? I know it's for stormwater, it's for over a certain
Yep.
size, and I just want to be sure we know what motion we're making.
So you're approving a land disturbance permit application. That's what you're approving. So that's what the motion will be for. So there's 2 different triggers for the land disturbance applications. One is is if you're disturbing 20,000 square feet of land. The other one is if you have a 3-to-1 slope on your property and you disturb 6,000 square feet. So those are the 2 triggers and thresholds for them to come. So I think since I've been here, we've probably done 3 of these. I think this is probably the 3rd. And I think in our older days in Concord, when we were out there, I mean, I think I had 2. So this is kind of the catch-all for projects that don't go to either the ZBA or they don't go, and get an approval somewhere else. So if they're getting an approval and receiving a stormwater review, then it doesn't come to the board.
And the
only-
land disturbance is specific, this is all within the stormwater ordinance, right? So,
Yeah.
So
It's
we're
anything
really
that
looking
changes
at
the
it
cover. Yeah, anything
from
that
that
changes the cover
lens.
type.
Okay. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the land disturbance permit application, per the stormwater ordinance.
And I'll second it.
I'll third that. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Anything else anyone would like to add?
Just to thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And
Thank
Yeah,
you very
thank you.
much.
It's an
thanks for the,
exciting project.
Thank you. It was
Thanks
nice
for the
meeting
thorough-
everyone.
Thank you.
thanks
Likewise.
for the thorough explanation, guys.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
We'll see you.
Have a good day.
You as well.
Bye-bye.
Chris, do we need to like adjourn?
Yeah,
the
that's
meeting?
why I stayed.
Yeah, I think Shane hung up, but I'll
At
make a
least there's
motion
2
to
of us.
adjourn. Yeah,
I
we're still a quorum, the 2 of us, so I
that's
think,
why I said at least there's 2 of us.
yeah.
Impressive that we all got together on a Monday at 9 a.m. So congrats, everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll try to avoid that moving forward.
It's not that it was a big deal, just because processes, that's an important piece of land we're talking about there too. And
Yeah.
185 trees was a surprise to me, but it's great to hear that they're planting them somewhere else too. So I'm glad there was some clarification on everything.
Yeah, I feel like, with so much attention on trees, with the Voc and everything, we need to be able to say that we understood that information. I didn't know that they were doing a 1-for-1 replacement, but I think at least we can say that, we asked the questions and we know they're being replaced. I mean,
Right.
I know it's never exactly the same to replace in a different location in terms of like impacts to wildlife and all that, but,
Certainly better than nothing.
yeah, and I think this project is such an environmental win that, it makes it a little easier, so.
Right.
I do have to say they are very, very good in the tree department. So their roadside stuff is like super aggressive. They plant a lot, and then they're basically going to take a piece of property that's the town took it for a bunch of reasons way back when, never really did anything with it, so they'll turn it into kind of a functional forest. So it should be
Right.
good.
Great. All right, guys. Well, everyone have a great rest of the week.
Have fun at work.
Thank you.
Bye,
See
take
you later.